Welcome back to the Top 6 show. We've got Tom Little. We have K-Mac on the show with us now. We've got Dan. We've got Henry Wright. We've got Kunle joining us later in the show. So we've got a real star-studded, fan-led panel for you tonight. I don't know what I was saying there, but I managed to get through that sentence. Lots of transfer stories to get their opinions on and yours, plus a few big questions. I know it's a little bit of a way off now, the brand new season, but we are going to be talking about that. And question to the panel, I didn't ask, well, can you guys hear a fan in my background?
No.
Cool, fine. I've got a fan on. It's keeping me nice and cool, but I wanted to make sure nobody could hear it.
I wish I had one, to be honest.
It's doing its job. Actually, I'm going to move it a little nearer to me then, all right? It's one of the ones you put like ice in it and then it blows out cold air. It's kind of like aircon. It's because this room gets really hot. So if you guys can't hear it, I'm a happy man. Loads of transfer stories to speak about. Noni Madueke could be leaving Chelsea. That has just broke now via Matt Law. And a number of Premier League clubs are monitoring him, including Arsenal. Arsenal could make a move for Noni Madueke. Keeping it with Chelsea, they're inquiring again about Mohamed Kudus. Big breaking news last night. We're going to jump into more of that on the show. Spurs also want the West Ham man. João Pedro is on the agenda for the blue side of West London. We're looking at Manchester United with Brian and Mbeumo. TalkSport say the deal is imminent, should be complete within the next week. Duncan Castle saying United have made a new offer that's over 60 million, but he said not to rule out Tottenham in this race. We're looking ahead at the big race for strikers as well, including what could be another British record transfer fee for Alexander Isak at 120 million for my two friends with... It's so scouse, you two. Look at your hair, both of you. The long hair out there. They'll be delving into that one with me as well.
Everybody's got long hair, by the way.
I didn't know you had long hair, right? Until the other day. You had it out on stream. I always thought it was like short. I thought you had a wig on. I was like, where's that come from? I always thought your hair was short and suddenly it was long. I was like, where's that come from? But big up, gentlemen. How are you both? You both well and good?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, really good, thanks.
Good. And thank you, unlike the rest of the panel, for getting here. Yeah, being a Liverpool fan is crazy. And yep, we're going to talk Mark Gahey as well. There's a number. We're going to get onto Liverpool a little bit later in the show. I wanted to start off, though, with Duncan. I need to say Duncan Edwards. What's his name? Why is his name left my mind?
Castles.
He's a swimmer.
Duncan Castles. Duncan Edwards. What the fuck am I talking about? It kind of put out reports that some people, again, every time there's a little link to Spurs still being involved with Mbeumo, everybody jumps on it. They all ignored the stories yesterday that Spurs had called their interest, but he stated that Spurs are still an option. He kind of said in a more blunt way, because he hates Man United, that's what Ben Jacobs has said. He hasn't completely rejected Tottenham. It's just the first choice is Manchester United, but he could end up at Spurs if Man United can't get a deal done with Brentford, which I think we've all sort of touched on before. But reports that the deal is imminent. Spurs still lurking around. How do you boys see this one playing out? Because United fans are really starting to get frustrated, angry, annoyed that it isn't done yet. Do you think patience is needed here?
Yeah. If you want United, it seems to be that United aren't struggling to pay the fee. It's just they're trying to get the best deal. I've not seen anything which says United are nervous about the deal. Negotiations just take a bit of time now. People are only everything's sort of scaled back for the summer. It takes a bit of time. Transfers don't get done in a day, especially when we're talking about 60 million quid fees. You clearly want United, and the little resurgence that Tottenham fans thought they'd have because they had Champions League football confused me the whole time, because if Mbeumo wanted the Champions League football, he wouldn't have turned down Newcastle for United. Don't know why Champions League football all of a sudden suddenly mattered then. He clearly wants United for the project or whatever. I don't think this one's going to be one which fans should be stressing out about it potentially falling to him. I think it's just a case of negotiations are taking a bit of time. Both sides are trying to get the best deal they can, because for Brentford, that'll be their big sale this summer. So they're trying to maximise the money they get from that. So they might not have to sell any other players. So this new manager has a bit more of a stable squad to work with. there's just a bunch of moving pieces that are going to take a bit of time to figure themselves out, and then all will be good. So I don't think there's much of a stress.
I think also what we're kind of missing as well is they've just lost their manager, but they probably had a lot of stuff to sort out with him, and obviously they have to sort out the goalkeeper issue as well, because Flecken's gone to Bayer Leverkusen and they've got in obviously our wonder number 2 in Cleveland Gallagher, so they probably had to sort that out first, and maybe Brentford kind of want to bid him more. And there's a lot of stuff that's just getting leaked around, as in, oh, they're interested and they're interested, just trying to drive the price up. Because I think he will be their most expensive player if he's sold. Or would that have been the striker that went to Saudi?
No, Tony was only like 40 million. 40
Yeah, so he will.
Tony wasn't that big of a deal in the end.
Signing, so they'll probably maximise that as much as they can. And let's be honest, like he's probably been their best player for like the last 2 years. Like, so they want to get top dollar.
Yeah, Man United fans, we just need to chill a bit. So Brian Mbeumo, he's clearly stated that he wants Man United. He's clearly shown that that's his desire for now. The report of him saying he's not said no, completely no to Spurs. Again, I'm not surprised at, because he can't just lock off his options, because it's not like Man United have just said, I'm going to match the 70 million. Here you go. Come to us. They're taking time in negotiations. So he's going to have a backup plan, which will be Spurs, because apparently Spurs are willing to table the 70 million on the table. So it's just going to take a bit of time. We also need to remember, for some reason, teams are more willing to do business in July because of PSR and whatever financial implications that may have as well.
It's a new financial year for most clubs, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's on that set of books.
Yeah, see, so there's that happening as well. We've got 11 to 12 days until that point. I'm not saying Man United won't get the deal done in 12 days, but that might be part of it, as in like, yo, guys, we don't really need to rush this because we're looking to do it towards this date anyway, so they're fine. As a United fan, the only thing that is frustrating is the fact that we started to look like we're going to move fast. Obviously, we got Quansah through the door very early.
Why you come fast? Why you come fast?
Why are you coming fast? You know what I mean? I thought we was coming fast. And we got Quansah through the door. And then as soon as that happened, is like a few days later, boom, and Mbeumo has picked us. Then we put a bid in. So now we're like, okay, cool, we're moving, we're cooking. And since that bid has gone in, it's been almost over 2 weeks since that. And I think it's just taken the stuffing out of Man United fans' excitement of change and rebuild and all these different things that we need to do. So I think that's the biggest frustration is, as a United fan, I was happy with how we started. I'm still calm and relaxed about the situation. But if we had got Mbeumo in already, we then could have focused on sales, try and get some of these unwanted guys out, and then we could focus on again getting some more new players in before preseason, because our preseason starts our first game is the 19th of July. So it's literally a month today. We got our first game in Stockholm against Leeds. So we, as a United fan, I would like to see 2 more signings with Quansah and Mbeumo coming through the door before that point, so Amorim can work with them, and it's an easier process to embed them into the squad. But that's looking like it's not going to happen, so we just have to relax. But I don't think we're in any danger of losing it so far in the process.
I actually realised, Terry, why it's taking so much time. It's because they're fitting the gold lockers in the changing rooms.
Exactly, it's the gold lockers. It's all of that stuff. Like I said, I'm just really relaxed about it. I said this earlier on today. I'm relaxed right now because there isn't a dire need for him to be a Man United player at this moment. He isn't. I know what Duncan Castles is doing here. He's laying it on a little more thick than the other journalists have done. There is a possibility that he goes to Spurs. I don't think he's going to change his mind and go, actually, I don't want to join United now and go Spurs. I think where Tottenham's chance comes in is if we pull away from negotiations and say, I'm done. So, of course, his team are going to be telling journalists, hang on, no. Let's not tell people that we've rejected everybody, because that word is harsh and it upsets fans, because fans are emotional fucking giant crybabies, and they'll hold that against us. So let's just say that it's a preference. United are working on the deal. I still think we'll get it done. you know, Duncan Castles is having a little bit of fun with it. As I said yesterday, when it comes to those opening fixtures, the mainstream media, the world of football, there's drama that's sometimes manufactured out of it. It wasn't even an update today. Yes, he's told us we've offered more than 60 million as a package, and we kind of know that because it ain't an official bid, but we've been putting in new unofficial bids, as the media like to call it, for the past couple of weeks, trying to get, you know, as close to that 70 million pounds as they want, you know, in terms of add-ons, and they'll accept it. But for me, it's the story hasn't changed at all in the last 2 weeks. We're his preference. We're working on the deal. Tottenham are there waiting in the wings for if we pull out, or if we find a new target or something else like that happens. But I think Man United fans have got to stay patient. And the reason that I say, some people will go in from day one and be negative and go, it's rubbish, we're going to have a crap summer. I know it. And then if they end up we end up having a bad summer, it'll be, so I tell you, Terry, you shouldn't have been relaxed right at the start. But I look at it this way. If I have to start work at 10 a.m. and it takes an hour to drive to work, I am being stupid to leave my house at 9 o'clock because one little bit of traffic and I'm late. However, you're not right about leaving early if you suggest I should leave the house at 5 a.m. because then I'm probably going to get to work 4 hours early and sit around twiddling my thumbs, right? That's crazy talk. And I think people do that a lot. They just go, no, got to get it all done the first 2 weeks, otherwise it's going to be a crap summer. Well, most teams don't get all their business done that early. And yes, Liverpool and City have got a lot of work done early, but so much of that has happened because of the Club World Cup. I think the Wirtz deal, if Man City and Bayern weren't at the Club World Cup, I think would have dragged on longer. Isak may not be a quick deal. Gyokeres hasn't got done yet, even though you know it's going to happen. It's in a very similar situation to Manchester United with Brian and Mbeumo. It's just Man United are just not as good as, one, controlling the media. Liverpool have got a lock on that in terms of the information that comes out. And two, Liverpool fans, by and large, are a lot happier. They're more relaxed, so they're more patient with it. And at the end of the day, Cunha's done. And Mbeumo's as close to being wrapped up as possible. And it's funny how, you know, United fans are emotional at the moment because you hear the report from TalkSport they'll be done in the next week. Wow, great. You hear then Duncan Castle say that Spurs are still around, and that gets 10 times the attention, that the fear from Man United fans is there. And I just think we've got to stay relaxed right now. And equally, us getting angry on social media and tweeting horrible things towards our club's account, I mean, that social media manager is going to work a lot harder in those Mbeumo negotiations now, isn't he or she? Because you've called her a dickhead. It really helps.
That's if she's still got one. That's if that job wasn't cut by Jim Ratcliffe in order to save some costs.
Someone's
it's
posted.
just left some of the players.
Someone's posted.
Ironically, the head
also
of
in the UK, you might have the police coming round.
Ironically, the head of media of Man United is leaving his position anyway. Just apparently so. So yeah, Jim might have had a contact with him. But yeah.
Yes, I think it will happen. I'm really relaxed about it personally, but that's just me personally. Viewers, I'd love to get your views, love to get your opinions on the comments section below. That deal closing in for Man United according to reports today. Red Gorilla here says scruffy Jim. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Listen, I'd love to be as scruffy and as broke as Sir Jim. I'm just saying, would love it. Would love it. It's so weird. I love how people call him a broke billionaire when he's worth what is he worth? Like 20 billion. I'd love to be that broke, man. That'd be an amazing.
I'd just
level
love to
of
say I'm broke billionaire.
Yeah. The same sentence is crazy.
Yeah, obviously oxymoronic. Terry, has Gyokeres agreed deal? Has Gyokeres to Arsenal deal agreed or not? If not, then why did you put this in your main top? Well, he has agreed to join Arsenal. Yes, that's the majority of the outlets. Whether some are saying he's agreed to join, some are saying personal terms are agreed, some are saying that's his preference, some are saying that's his preferred destination. But when you add, this is what you've got to do, my friend. It's called critical thinking. You add all those stories together. He's agreed to join Arsenal. He's just waiting on the clubs to work out a deal. Now, Arsenal could go in a new direction, but it doesn't stop the fact that he's agreed. I'll give you an example. This should make all these transfer stories calm you all down and make you make sense. And I actually don't care if it sounds condescending. If I agree to drive KJ to work, but then I don't turn up to get him, KJ still agreed on a route to work. KJ got that agreement done. His mum's like, KJ, why have you not gone to work today? Well, I rang Terry. Terry said he'd pick me up at 6. It's 7:30. He hasn't arrived. It's not KJ's fault. Cunha has agreed the deal according to a number of credible outlets. He says, why is that? Why put this as your main topic to talk about, but he hasn't rejected United? Well, again, that's semantics. I view it as a rejection. I really do. I view it as a rejection. I'm not sensitive about it. I don't care. Rejection is part of life, whether it's jobs, the opposite sex, the same sex in some people's preferences, whatever it may be. We all get rejected. You've got to learn to grow up and take it and stop. We'd actually get better, more frank news from the media if we all stop crying and panicking about the perception. We all moan about our clubs doing PR. You do realize that we're the reason our clubs do PR, right? Because we can't handle the truth. None of us, not one fan base in the world, can handle the truth. That's why they give us PR, and then the same plonkers cry about the PR. It's because of you knobheads. Stop being so sensitive for everything that happens and relax. I've just seen something someone's put in, and obviously it's going to end up being
it's fake. It's fake.
This is what's I love this here.
click on that.
Zubimendi to Real Madrid. Here we go. Full agreement. Hijacked. This is what's crazy about the fact that people are still pushing this narrative. There was another big update from Fabrizio today about the structuring of the deal is now done, and Arsenal are going to pay ever so slightly above the asking price so they can spread it over a period and amortize it. Here we go. The deal will complete, I think is what he said. You've still got Arsenal haters. That are like, it's going to collapse. Like, again, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. Arsenal are signing Zubimendi. Every negative person online, YouTuber, TikToker, X account, person in the comments that keeps saying it's being hijacked, you're chatting nonsense. It is not. There has not been a credible report outside of the Spanish media that has said it's even possible.
But even then, you've got to question credibility of the Spanish ones, because a lot of them are just in the mouthpieces for what certain clubs want you to hear. The difference with this Zubimendi one and all the other ones in the past is this time Zubimendi himself said yes.
It turns out Daniel's actually an Arsenal fan. Then you might be joking. So you're being ironic. I apologize, because there's a lot of amoebas that are not ironic and don't understand it. If you were, then I apologize, my friend. I'm actually glad to see someone gets it. Terry, genuine question. Why would Gyokeres, through his agent, run the risk of alienating United and Juve if he doesn't have any assurances of Arsenal? But this is the thing, Lawrence Bailey.
He's not going to alienate them, is he? I don't think United are going to sit there and
but
go,
he is going to alienate them if all the fans behave emotional. I totally understand why Arsenal are more attractive right now than Man United to a percentage of players, and why Gyokeres is in that percentage. But if Arsenal pull away and we get him, I'm celebrating. This isn't like me wanting to date a woman who I think could become my wife, where what you actually want is to be first choice, where you want to be the love of their life. You want to be the best thing that's ever happened to them. You don't want them waiting to see if somebody else asks them out first. I'll go out on that date with you, and we'll get together, but I've just got to wait and see if Johnny wants me first. That's not what we're dealing with here. That's emotional, personal life. We're dealing with business. This happens in every single which way. Every single which way. Players sometimes get sold that don't want to leave a club. That literally means they're joining your club as a second choice to them, because their preferred destination, like Quansah, doesn't want to leave Liverpool. He would love to stay at Liverpool and play regularly, but he's going to get sold. That means if you're going to be emotional and pedantic, well, that means whatever club he goes to, it's his second choice, because his first choice would be to stay at Liverpool. So what, no club should buy him because his first choice is to stay at Liverpool? No, they're professionals and they'll do a professional job. And so for me, they backtracked on what was said. Sorry, Lawrence. They backtracked on what was said to he hasn't rejected clubs. He has a preference. That's just to calm the emotional fans online down. That's all that is. The grown-ups in the room can handle the word rejected without crying like babies.
And if you flip it as well, I think Goldbush brought this point up on Hot Takes, is that many players are our team's second choice, third choice. So should they reject us because we're not there?
It's not the Mbeumo situation. So should we reject Mbeumo because he's first choice to Man United? Like,
should Ekitike? No, wait. Let's flip it again. Should Gyokeres reject Man United because we went for Delap first?
Crazy.
Well, but this is it. The professionals don't. Sometimes that can play a part. but they're professionals and they want to move. Where Lawrence come back, then that's not what he meant. Then I apologize. That's how it read to me. He's not alienating anybody, in my personal opinion, because where it could go wrong for him, but I wouldn't use the word alienating, is if Man United go and get Ekitike and Juve sign Mateta, and then Arsenal turn their back on him,
and then there's no club for him to go to.
Then he could be caught with his willy in his hand, going, "Oh no, what have I done here? I'm exposed." That's true. But in terms of the only people that would say is alien, I thought, because you use the word alienating, I thought you were talking about fans and the way it would be receptive. If you're talking about clubs moving on deal-wise, yeah, that's a risk. There's a risk in him waiting. But there's also a risk that he changes his, the word I would use. There's also a risk that he changes his mind because he wants the move, and Arsenal are deliberating still. So it could impact Arsenal as well. It can go any which way, and that's the fun nature of transfers. Fans should embrace that and enjoy it rather than crying every 5 minutes, in my personal opinion. But viewers, give us your thoughts. Welcome down to the show as well, by the way.
United also, I don't think, can be very picky about if a striker's a bit and on about joining them.
Yes.
It's not like United can sit there and go, "You don't want to join us? Fine, we'll stick with what we've got. Come on, Rasmus. 4 goals again this season, mate. Let's go.
No,
3rd year's a charm."
We can't. But then there's some fans that will argue that's how we should operate because we just want players who.
But then that makes no sense because the standards would be we're running the same striker that got us to finish 15th last year.
No.
Why shouldn't they expect it to change?
It's not to keep Rasmus. It's to go get a striker who actually wants to play for us. Is it? It's not.
But there's nothing. Again, like I was just being said, there's nothing to say Gyokeres doesn't want to play for Manchester United.
That is true.
It's just a case of, well, if they come in first, I'd rather play for them because they're better, and I've got more chance of achieving something in the immediate future. He's not said no, but from what I understand, he's not said no. Manchester United, he just went, well, I might do, but if Arsenal come in for me and Arsenal want me, I'll go there. If that doesn't happen, then I might do. That's how it goes.
Like Terry said, especially our fan base, we're emotional as hell. So yeah, that's.
Let's be very honest. Victor Gyokeres is not going to sit there and go, "Wait, I've only got United. Let's do one more year in Portugal." Because the market's not exactly going to change next year. Every club is bad. Every club is seemingly getting their striker this window. So it's not. I don't think there's going to be many clubs next summer, or many top clubs next summer. We'll be sitting there going, "Now's where we get our striker. Now's where we grab him." So the market for a striker is now.
I agree.
This is the window.
I agree. Football fans, though, it's on us. We want better, more frank news. Stop being emotional little babies every 5 minutes. My theory might be dumb, but why not buy Gyokeres on as a striker, Šeško on the left wing, because Šeško is a number 9, mate. And let him grow and learn for the long term. No, you are right, mate. Your last line there, it might be crazy. I appreciate you admitting that. He's not that kind of football player.
Has it ever been a left
winger? Gyokeres has been a left winger at points, but if your whole point is we're going to bring in both of them so they can learn off each other, Šeško's playing a different position. He's going to have to learn how to play that position first, so the team doesn't suffer when he's playing there before trying to learn anything off Gyokeres. If you're going to buy, you're not going to get both of them. But if you were getting both of them, one would have to be the backup, otherwise you're not going to develop anyway.
No, I agree. I can see now Jamie Vardy to Arsenal on deadline day. Here we go.
This is what we're talking about. Why are fans already talking about these kind of transfers, man? Relax.
I can see Jamie Vardy to Man United on deadline day.
The window's been open 19 days.
Guys, like, everyone relax, man. Like, the players will be signed or won't be signed. Like, just chill. When it's August,
a lot of people keep saying as well, why hasn't that happened yet? Do you want to know the biggest reason why nothing's happened yet? 99.9% of players right now are on holiday.
Yeah.
And a lot of, and this has been, again, no one listens to the experts in this space. A lot of them say that the players like to go away and they don't want to think about their deals. Some deals get done prior. But for instance, let's say United couldn't, for one reason or another, do the Cunha deal before the financial deadline or before Cunha went on holiday. We'd be still waiting and everyone would be getting impatient, even though the deal is done, right? The deal in essence it was all official. It just needs to be made like publicly official. But yeah, far too emotional. On emotions though, Tom, you must be starting to feel some level of excitement now. A lot of talk. Ben Jacobs yesterday saying, should there be any appetite from Isak, a British transfer record could again be smashed by Liverpool in the pursuit of this number 9. Thoughts on that?
I don't know how to react to all this because I've never seen my club in this position where they want to go buy and spend a lot of money all at once. Very, very happy, first of all. We need a number 9. He is best in class. He is exactly what you'd want Liverpool to get as a striker. Premier League experience, got a great track record, still, just about to enter his prime. Perfect signing. The fact that I read today, price isn't a problem. We'd pay whatever it takes to get him. Again, really good ambition from the football club. Instead of doing what we've done in the past, where we get all the way up to the top of the mountain and then sit on our arse and let everyone else climb back past us, we're now trying to make sure we maintain our position at the very top of the table and getting that succession plan in place to replace Mohamed Salah in 2 years' time. Rather than panic when he goes and try and get whoever in, it seems like we're trying to get all the pieces in place so that in 2 years' time when he does go, we're ready to just kick on with no more sort of fuss. It does, as you said, though, it's going to require Isak to say he's interested in the move, which I think he is. I don't see why he wouldn't be interested in the move. And it's going to require Newcastle being willing to deal, which, again, not easy, but I do think it could happen because every player's got a price. Newcastle this year are going into the Champions League again. We all saw how last time they were in the Champions League, they struggled for a good couple of months because their squad couldn't handle both Champions League and Premier League football at the same time. It really started as a struggle and they had a real wobble and I think they finished like 8th or something. Now, losing Isak would be a major blow. I'm not going to... We're not stupid here. Then Newcastle are not going to buy a striker better than Isak in the immediate term. But what Newcastle could do if they sold Isak for 130, 140 is use that, spend 80 to 100 on a striker or whatever it takes. And then they've got an extra, 50, 60, 70 quid wiggle room, which they can go put on squad players to mean that across the season, they're going to be more competitive and get themselves back into the Champions League the next year. And then all of a sudden, the whole thing they've had around PSR and everything, that starts to get alleviated because they're getting consistent revenue from being in the Champions League consistently. Their PSR concerns came from the fact that they didn't get any European football after spending Champions League money. So they have to try and make it up somehow. But if they can build a squad that can handle both situations, I think it's worthwhile. When every team is building, a star has to be sacrificed along the way. I can't think of many teams that have built from mid-table mediocrity to the top of the game, which is what Newcastle want to do, without there being a big sacrifice along the way for the betterment of the team. And in Newcastle's case, wishful thinking, but I'm hoping it's Isak is sacrificed for the British record fee. It's not like we're paying pennies.
Do you think he goes for 130?
I think it'd be between 140 and 150.
Yeah,
No,
it'd take a lot of money.
I think it's less.
I've got a question.
I think it's less.
Is that 130 to 150 million pounds worth more than Isak staying? Because I hear what you're saying in terms of you can't, if they spend that money, can go and just get this next big striker. Let's say they go and spend it on Gyokeres or Sesko or Ekitike or one of those are expensive strikers, right? They go get one of those and then they fill it out with squad players. What if those guys aren't good enough, even though they spent money on it, right? And they go backwards from selling Isak. In their mind, if that happened, it would be they would have rather kept Isak, who's giving them proof, who can get them into the Champions League, than these players who maybe not. So is Isak worth 150 million for them?
Can I talk on this, Tom? Can I talk on this? So, look, I think what people aren't really thinking about is the player. Look, we need to think about what Isak wants. And Isak's gone to Newcastle and he's provided a hell of a job for them. Like 20 plus goals a season. He's got them into the Champions League already. He's just won them their first cup in 80 years. Isak has ambition. Newcastle have ambition. Well, you have to ask the question to Isak. In the next 2 years, do you think Newcastle are going to win the Premier League or the Champions League? And the honest question is, probably not. So Isak's going to a club that can. And that's the question that needs to be asked. Everyone can talk about Newcastle. Oh, Newcastle got all the money in the world and they don't want to sell. Think about the poor player.
The irony.
Players given Newcastle blood, sweat, and tears and won them a trophy because he scored the winner. He scored the winner. So
the irony of you guys, as Liverpool fans, talking about player preferences right now is a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
I haven't said anything, KJ.
When one of your players
anything.
had a chance to leave because he completed the football with Liverpool,
He had a fantastic debut
But now
yesterday, by the way. I really enjoyed watching his debut yesterday.
It's oh no, but think of the player. Oh, think of what he wants. Disgrace. Absolutely.
So what do you leave
Man
for
United
130
can
mil?
talk when they're booting out Rashford and everyone
What was that,
else.
Henry?
If Flash turn it around, I would love that, but it is what it is.
You think he leaves for 130?
I
think
don't
he
think
goes for less.
130. I think they'd want as close to 150 as they can get it, and I think that we'd be. I don't think we're going to be so stuck in negotiations that we'd only pay 130. I think that from everything I've read about us and Isak, we seem to value him even higher than Wirtz.
It's like, yeah, it's 120 million flat fee with then add-ons.
I think we'd pay. I think we'd try and get it as close to 100 million guaranteed, and then try and get as many bonuses. But I wouldn't be shocked if it's like 110.
How many other
guaranteed.
forwards do you think you're? Obviously, Nunez is the likelihood he's going to go. Do you think Diaz goes as well?
I don't think Diaz goes now because Barca went for Nico Williams. So I feel like I think Diaz's mind was always Barca or no one. And as much as I'd like the Saudi money because they'd pay mega money for him, I think that in his mind, he'd rather stay in Europe. So I don't think Diaz is going to go this summer. I think Nunez will go.
What about Chiesa?
I'm unsure on Chiesa will go, but I barely count him now anyway. And I'm a bit unsure on Diogo Jota. It's just about whether Sousa's coming for Jota. But I'd lean on him not going for now. For us, the majority of the money we're going to make is going to come from a Nunez and probably the homegrown players that we sell. I mean, Quansah looks like he's going to get a move to Leverkusen for close to 40 million quid.
Do you think Harvey Elliott will go as well?
I think Harvey Elliott's definitely going to go because he can't do another year of not playing. So that'll be another one who I think we value at around 40 million quid or a little bit more. And then we've got some kids who, but Liverpool are very good at selling these fringe players. So like you'll see us, you'll see us at the end of the season, and we'll have sold like 130 million quid worth of players, and only one first team player will have went. You went, how have they done that? Then you'll see this random academy kid went for 20 million quid. So Diaz is the one that I'm a little bit unsure. It all depends on if Diaz wants Saudi. If Diaz is willing to go to Saudi for the money, then we'll sell him, and we'll get 80 million quid.
So you're looking at bringing in probably 100 million quid back from all the sales.
I reckon.
More.
I reckon it'll be like 150 without Diaz, and maybe a little bit more.
I reckon it'd be I reckon they can. You've got to remember. Hang on, you just got to remember it. Don't even question it, Henry. And I'll tell you why you can't question it. They got a combined total of nearly £50 million for Jordan Ibe and Brewster.
Oh, Ryan Brewster.
Yeah.
So the point is, if you get nearly £50 million for those two, it's just one of those things. I don't mean to shut down conversation, but let's not waste any oxygen on a hot day like this, wondering whether Liverpool are either the greatest negotiators in the world or they cook their books. It's one of the two. But either way, they show massive income for players. But look, we're adding a new section to the Top 6 show when we get onto these points, and it's called Fiction or Football. Okay, so fiction means you think that's cap. Why? Football means you think it's real. I'm going to throw this question to Dan. It's in relation to Isak. Would Isak joining Liverpool guarantee them the Premier League title next season? Fiction or football?
Football. I think that happens. I think the rest of the Premier League should be incredibly worried if Isak turns up at Liverpool at the end of the transfer window. Honestly, that is monumental for the next 4 or 5 Premier League seasons, I think.
Does it guarantee the Champions League?
I love hearing this, by the way. I absolutely love hearing this. Oh my God.
Champions League's a little bit tougher to say it guarantees, just because I think there's a number of teams, obviously, that have got... I mean, Liverpool and the Champions League is a great relationship, though, so it might. But I think the Premier League is what would be guaranteed. I don't know about the Champions League. I think sometimes you can win that with luck because of the type of competition it is. But I think over a 38 game consistent season, I think Isak wins you the Premier League, as
Is-
well
I think
as the other players
the
they've got
next
in that
5
squad.
years as well.
is-
Like
is-
with Guardiola likelihood to leave City, Arteta, can he get over the line? If they get Alexander Isak, I'm thinking how City had that, 6 out of
Yeah,
7.
they're winning
titles.
4 of the next 5, aren't they?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I don't see anyone. I mean, the centre back question is going to be:
I can't have it.
can they bring in a centre back? Because I think that's the only area of the pitch.
Anyone, Tom?
Gahey.
I think they
It looks like we're going to get Gahey done.
KJ,
Yeah,
why do you
I
think it's
said that to you 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Don't get
KJ?
Gahey.
Why do you think it's fiction?
Fiction. I was thinking about it. I was like, for next season, yeah, it sounded like football, but is there in between? But when Henry's starting to talk about dominating for the next 5 years, and
Who stops them then? Tell me.
it's fiction, man. You know why it's fiction? I know Liverpool. I know
They're not win you
Liverpool-
over with talking about the player.
And I know Liverpool were good this year, but I don't think they were so amazing that like I looked at them like no one's ever catching them again. Like it didn't look like that for me.
Mhm.
I think Manchester City will always have the resources to challenge. And yes, Guardiola might go in the next season or two, but I believe in their process of their way their managers are. The way that they pick managers, that they will go and get a guy who can come in and challenge and potentially beat Liverpool to a title. And because Man City are in this league, it's hard for me to say just straight up, boom, it's just going to be Liverpool now and forevermore, or until whatever happens. They were really good, but if City are at their best, they easily could win the league as much as Liverpool can win the league. So I'm saying fiction. Just for I think there's another team in this league that could that could compete with them again, and it won't be just a simple just because of Isak and just because it got worse, that means they've won the league. And
I mean, it's a damn good argument though. That
For me, I'm
the
saying
champions
football.
have had the words in this.
I'm saying football as well, man. I'm saying this will happen. On my channel, Terry Flewers TV, I spoke about it earlier on today. It's not just the signings of Wirtz and Isak. It's Salah staying, Van Dijk staying, the midfield already being fantastic, replacing the fullbacks with potentially better fullbacks based on what we saw last season, especially when it comes to the left back side of things. They go into this season the resounding favourites to win the league, and I just don't see how they're going to be stopped. They'll get beaten in individual games. But last year, Liverpool looked a little bit sticky in some games if Salah couldn't score, and people sort of just popped up. But with Isak in the team, with Wirtz in the team, with Salah in the team, you're looking at a side that could break the goal scoring record in the Premier League next season. You're looking at a team that genuinely has got a shot of going invincible next year. Absolutely got a shot of going in. They might not do it because that's very hard, but they have an absolute chance of going invincible because they will score. They scored in all but one game last year. You add Isak and Wirtz to this team, they're going to score in every. My big prediction for Liverpool outside of winning the league is they're going to score in every single Premier League game next year. And someone says behave, they scored in all but one game last year. I think they'll score in every single match this season. And if you score in every single game, you have a chance of going invincible. It's a very slim chance, but that's how good they are. I might even see what the odds are and put a cheeky little bet on it. This Liverpool team with Isak it should be fucking illegal. Sorry, Mac.
We did like 34 games at home where we scored more than 2 goals.
No, it was across the season. In the 38 game Premier League season, we scored 2+ goals and 31.
But this is it. Zine says you're being sensational. 34 games of the league season, they scored 2 or more goals. You're adding Wirtz and you're adding Isak to that team. This is the problem with people with small brains, Z. All right, I'm starting to get nasty with some people now because you're a bit of a troll, so I can be nasty to a troll. It's not a mad take to go. They could extend that a little bit further. I literally said a slim chance, but there is a chance. Stop. Some of the challenge is crazy to me. It's starting to get on my nerves a little bit. I'm just going to start blocking people. Not because you're not allowed to challenge me, but because you just chat shit. I didn't sit here and say it's a guarantee it's going to happen and it's easy. That would be being sensational. But a team that scored in all but one game, scored two or more goals in 34 games, that have just added one of the best strikers in the world, one of the best attacking midfielders into that team. I'm making a prediction they're scoring every game and they've got a chance of going invincible. They're that fucking good.
I think as well, everyone rightly should be looking at the attack because we could be spending near enough 300 million quid on that this season. But one of our big problems last year was our fullbacks didn't necessarily do the exact job the manager wanted.
How did I know you were going to go there with?
I had to watch Andy Robertson try and be what he's not, and I had to watch Trent Alexander-Arnold not give a shit about anything. So I've now added I've added one of the best left backs in the Premier League last year because I'll give Cucurella some credit in that. And I added one of the best right wing backs from the Bundesliga for the past 3 years, who are very specialised at what they do, which is what Arnie Slot wanted our fullbacks to do last year. But Robertson can't control the football near the box, and Alexander-Arnold refused to go near the box because he believes he's this pseudo defensive midfielder. Now that we've got fullbacks that'll do the job, well, that is going to improve a lot of the build-up and a lot of the problems that we had. So not only is the attack going to be even stronger, adding who is, in my opinion, the best 10 in the world and potentially the best striker in the league to go alongside the best player in the Premier League and two really serviceable left-wing options. A lot of the problems we had last year in terms of building up, especially against big teams, where they'd almost force us to go long, we'll be able to play out of that better now because we've got fullbacks that we can trust to play out there. So as a unit, we've become a lot stronger. And it's nice to see that the football club are matching the ambition that the fans have.
I totally agree. You said it was fact or fiction. I must have misunderstood the concept. Well, you did, because it was fictional football, first of all, so you weren't listening. And the bit I mentioned wasn't the question we asked within that segment. So with all, I'll take that as an apology from you because you didn't listen. What I said wasn't the question, and you didn't even hear what the segment was called. So yes, you definitely misunderstood what I was saying. So maybe best to understand what's being said before leaving a comment. That'd be my first. What did I hear then? You can rewind it, listen again. Maybe you wouldn't have come in and said it was sensationalist. I'm literally giving a bold prediction of something that they could potentially achieve that would be massive, but I don't think it's bold to say they're winning the league.
Yeah.
Viewers, we're going to go to some of your super chats and comments here. It says, what if Man City get charged? Who will stop Liverpool? We'll see what Arsenal do. Arsenal are the only other team that I think are going to be able to stop them next season, Sarah. If Isak does, Arsenal's transfer market for a striker get increasingly tougher? If Isak goes.
No, because they're doing the transfer market without Isak in mind.
They're not
now
shopping
anyway.
for Isak, are they?
So they'll be fine. You guys will be fine.
Free run.
Yeah, I'm not worried about. I wouldn't be worried about that. I don't think Arsenal fans are as well. How many times did you watch Trent's performance, Tom?
Oh, yeah, yesterday I thought it was brilliant. I've had it on replay a number of times. I really enjoyed going into like Madrid communities on Twitter and watching their instant reaction every time he done something fucking stupid, because they'd all just sit there and go, who's this? Who's this?
Is it not freeing now, Tom? That you don't have to lie.
Do you know what it was, KJ?
To the people.
Do you know what it was? I saw a tweet from a Real Madrid fan yesterday going, "Don't let these people like bait you. Trent weren't even that bad." And I took one look and went, "Yeah, that was what we were like for 8 years."
Do you know what? Do you know what it is? It must be nice for you, Tom, and the millions of Liverpool fans around the road to finally come out. You've left the closet. You're on the Pride March, and you can finally go, Trent's bad. Do you know what I mean? You sit your parents down in a room. Mum, Dad, I got something to tell you.
God, you haven't watched my videos for the last couple of months.
Trent's not I absolutely love it. It's very, very funny indeed. Not just players on holiday. The actual transfer window and not the World Club Cup has been open for 4 days. Fans need to calm down. Well, it's funny because I saw Staffy tweet that the transfer window's been open 19 days and United haven't sold anybody. That isn't strictly true. The first 10-day window is generally about clubs rush buying and selling to create room for the World Club Cup. Most clubs in Europe did barely anything in that period because unless one of their main targets, like Wirtz wouldn't have been done as early if Bayern Munich and City didn't want him. Liverpool had to act when they did.
Because loads of clubs wanted him.
Exactly.
I mean, even then, the moment that it came out that it was neither Bayern or City and it was us, everything slowed down.
It still took about
3.5 weeks.
3.5 to 4 weeks. Exactly. From a here we go almost. So people have got to slow their
hell. He's got in the van with his family.
Yeah, exactly. Is that going to leave Newcastle?
We'll see. We don't know.
I look at it this way, honestly. There's too much noise for him. I know Newcastle fans hate this being said. If he truly 100% wanted to stay at Newcastle, this story's been rumbling on for 4 months. It had been shut down by now. Liverpool Football Club wouldn't allow it to rumble on if there wasn't a chance. They are the best club in England that's shutting down stories they know aren't going to happen. So it definitely could.
It was the Eddie Howe comment. It was the Eddie Howe comment at the end of the season.
Yeah, he couldn't guarantee it. Isak is also injury prone. Other teams will improve, and there will always be better players every season who get big club moves.
I mean, yeah, but there's not many strikers in world football better than Alexander Isak, and that's the real problem area for us. So
I hear that.
It's increasing your ceiling.
Yeah.
If you don't get Isak, do you think you're going for Ekitike?
If we don't get Isak, I hope we ring up Napoli and go, listen, I don't know why, but you want Nunes. What do we need to pay and give you Nunes for Osimhen?
Yeah,
That's a different
Osimhen.
profile.
Very
I just want to work. I don't want to do project number 9. Who I've got to do another 2 years of. Eventually, when they learn how to finish, you'll get your money worth. I just want guaranteed goals now.
Stand in the box and score goals, mate. That's it.
All right. Sorry, guys. Just because I've got an hour left and I've got loads of things to get through. Sorry. Do you know what I really wish we could add onto StreamYard is like a timer, right? And if you're watching, we should feed this into them so we can set a timer for a subject. And when it gets to the end, we all know, let's move on. It make my job so much easier. Because sometimes I'm like, I really want to speak about this and I run out of time. So this report, we're gonna touch on. We'll touch on it now. Madueke. So Arsenal will now link with him, but it isn't just an Arsenal link. I see Tom's face, Henry's face there light up. Matt Law has said that Chelsea are open to letting him go, and a number of clubs have come in for him. Are you happy to hear that, Dan? That Madueke's head's on the chopping block?
Not really. I don't mind Madueke. I think there's always been a really talented player in there, but I just feel like they probably expected quicker results because what you think he was probably one of the first we brought in under the new regime, and I think his progress has been very slow. I think this is probably his best season, and it wasn't exactly unbelievable. And I think with the players that are coming in and the other opportunities that the market's presenting, I feel like Madueke is the type of player that has done well enough to maybe generate a profit, but isn't going to be good enough going forward. So I can see why he potentially might want to move. If the fee's right, I can see why Chelsea would want to sell him as well.
You sound like you're underwater, by the way.
Obviously, are you Megatron? What the hell is going on?
I thought that sounded like his voice started breaking.
Wait, it's like, someone needs to cough. It sounded like that.
It's just getting higher and higher and higher. Yeah, it's weird.
Speak again.
You should be all right.
Speak again.
Hello.
Oh, you definitely waking IT, haven't you, Henry?
You're transforming, mate.
Yeah, it's even worse now.
Crazy.
Good.
What's the fee that they're talking about with Noni?
I'm not sure if one was written. None of what I've seen so far. Right. Arsenal are linked with him though. So Arsenal are linked with him, and I've got a question, a fictional football question. I'll go to Henry first on this. If Arsenal sign Madueke, is he going in to be a backup for Saka or the starting left winger? Fictional football.
Oh, that's a good one. He's not going to start over Saka, but I'm going to say football. I think he'd be a better option than Trossard's 30 now. Martinelli, I think, is very inconsistent. I think he'd be going in as a starting left wing option. I think Arsenal need better. Rodrigo and obviously Nico Williams they were linked to, but they're not going to pay. I'd imagine it's probably going to be around 60 million, 50 million. I don't see them paying that sort of money for a guy that's going to sit on the bench again. So
I think it's fiction. I think he goes in and he's this. I think he's more of the Trossard replacements. He can do both wings. I don't see how Arsenal can justifiably go from shopping in the.
You think they're going to pay 60
market.
million and have him rotate?
I don't think he'll cost 60 million for one. I think he'll be close to 50. And I also think it's a case of Arsenal cannot realistically go from shopping in the Rodrigo market and the Nico Williams market to the out of position Noni Madueke market. There has to be a middle ground for Arsenal's left winger.
Oh, he's back.
Is it fixed now?
Yeah.
You started off sounding like Barry White. By the end of it, you were like Michael Jackson. It was so funny. It was so funny.
No idea. Apologies for that.
Oh, and it's
It's gotta get.
what? I don't know. It might be our internet thing. Maybe she's
I don't-
No,
right.
it's
I
not.
don't
It's not
really-
the internet. It's the mic. Definitely the mic.
Let me leave.
Have you-
Yeah, leave and come back.
Dan, it's like last time we were on a show with him and it was doing all this. He turned on some accidental setting on his mic and didn't realise.
Yeah, that can also happen. Yeah. So, what are you saying, KJ? Do you think he's going to be like? Because I see a lot of Chelsea fans. I mean, in a group chat, I will say Don and these men have been defending Madueke for 2 years. Now they're celebrating the idea of Arsenal getting him. It's again just like the Liverpool fans lying about how good Trent was as a defender. When it comes to a man like Don, whenever we hear him back a Chelsea player now, we've got to question it, because as soon as that player looks like he's leaving, he seems to celebrate and laugh at the club buying them. So he's exposing himself a little bit as being a charlatan here. But from your point of view, back up for Saka or left wing starter, fiction or football?
He has to be a flipping backup for Saka if he's gonna go to Arsenal, because what's the point? What would be the point of signing him if he's starting left wing? You may as well just say to Man City and Liverpool, you guys have fun enjoying the title race. We'll just be back here chilling with Chelsea and them man there in the top 4 race. He's a good player and I like him, but he's not. For one, he prefers the right wing, and you can see why. And 2, he's not the right profile and the right quality to take them up the next level. So you may as well just keep Trossard. You may as well keep Martinelli, save yourself 60 million and go spend it somewhere else. Because Madueke is not that guy.
If they are going to spend 50 odd million on him, which I think personally it'll be more, because Chelsea are a very good selling club. If they are going to spend, say, 50, 55 million, he's not going there to sit on the bench.
Yeah,
but hypothetically, if that does happen, he's not going to sit on the bench over Martinelli.
I'll be honest though, Henry. Right now, he's not exactly the guaranteed starter at Chelsea, so he's going from rotation piece at Chelsea to rotation to a slightly better rotation piece at Arsenal.
Though he wasn't starting towards the end. He wasn't starting game in, game out. Joins Arsenal and he's starting.
Yeah, but that's because Mikel Arteta has a fetish for people over 6'4". Noni Madueke is going in to be a backup winger. I don't see how you. I'll be honest. Martinelli is a better footballer than Madueke. So if Arsenal went, we need to upgrade our left wing position this year.
No.
Yes. Martinelli is better than Madueke.
Martinelli
is better than Madueke.
No, he is not. No,
yes, he is. KJ, I'm not letting the Martinelli when he's on it is better than Madueke. Now I'm doing the whole age-old thing of when he's on it, but Madueke is also not exactly Mr. Consistent. So if I'm coming down to it, I'm looking at who's better, a natural left winger or a right winger out of position on the left. Martinelli is a better left winger than Madueke will be on the left.
That is true. Is he a better player? I don't know.
I think he is. I think Martinelli is.
They both aren't on level. But
I think we forgot about a guy that came in to fill in for Saka last season and did a really good job in Ethan Nwaneri. Like, where does he come into the picture?
He will get sorted. He's a young kid.
Is he just going to be back up?
Again, most Arsenal fans, when they speak about him, again, I'm only going by what Arsenal fans watching doing the academy. They see him as more of he should be playing more in Odegaard's position than a winger. So there's that. I see it as a backup. You actually, I mean, again, not everyone will go with statistics. I just went and looked at the data mob and just looked at their kind of diagrams, and the only 2 areas that Martinelli is better than Madueke in, he gets more assists and he has more key passes, but attacking actions, carries of the ball, dribbles completed, non-penalty goals, XG, and actually his XG and his XA is higher. He'd get more assists if Chelsea had finishers. It isn't too different. And I think Arsenal are interested as a backup to Saka. And the thing is, this is why I don't think it's bad business. They've been screaming out for a player that can come on for Saka. He's a Premier League player, Noni Madueke. Do I think he's the best right-sided attacker in the world? No. I think Chelsea, though, and I wanted to ask, this was my next question. If he goes to Arsenal, fiction or football, will Chelsea regret allowing him to join Arsenal?
No.
Yeah.
They won't. The reason why they won't is because he's not the guy that was taking them up a level anyway. He's been good in areas, and maybe Dan can answer this question better. But he's been good in areas for Chelsea, but he's not he's not seen as like a Cole Palmer. He's not seen as an Enzo or Caicedo who've carried them through big moments. Even Pedro Neto got bigger moments for Chelsea than Noni Madueke. So if they let him go and he does decent at Arsenal and they win the league, I don't think Chelsea will look at it and be like, oh, they won the league because we gave them Madueke. They'll probably be like, oh, good for him. But we know what we're trying to do at this club. And he wasn't a part of that. It's just, I just don't see him being that much of a thing of like, oh, I wish we kept him because he was doing this, that, and the third. He's not doing this. He's not doing much for Chelsea. He's good and there's good moments here and there, but it's not regrettable. You know what I mean? I don't think it's regret. I don't know how you feel about that, Dan.
Martinelli's 3-4 years playing under Arteta. Madueke's had 1 year in this Chelsea, well, like one decent, I'd say, season in this Chelsea team under Maresca. I think personally, Madueke's potential is a lot higher than Martinelli's. I think
Martinelli's regressed under Arteta, unfortunately.
Yeah, bang on the money.
Yeah.
Facts. He had that one good goal where he scored against Chelsea where Kante slipped and everyone was kind of riding on this train. Then he had that season where he scored 15 goals. Since that season where he scored 15 goals, and you could maybe say the same about Odegaard, they haven't really got back to that level of performances in that season. Where I think personally, under a better manager than Maresca, Madueke is a better player.
I almost feel like Maresca's system.
I think under Thomas, and I'm not just trying to make this about Spurs, but I think Thomas Frank or Iriola or Slot or Guardiola or whoever manager you want to talk about this at a decent level would improve Madueke with coaching.
Iriola would turn him into a really good player.
Yeah. In that Bournemouth team, he'd be their he'd be a fantastic private replacement.
He's got the pace, he's got the skills, he's got the ball control. He just needs.
I think Martinelli was a victim, though. I think Martinelli's been a victim of the way Arteta changed his system.
Yeah,
I think Martinelli's become a worse player, though. I think if Arsenal put Martinelli in the situations to where they want to do that, he can still do it. I just think since they lost Xhaka, who was this sort of linchpin of linking everything together on that left-hand side, and they replaced him with Kai Havertz, who then got moved up front. And then they've never really had that left-footed guy in that midfield to bring Martinelli back into the game. So Arsenal become quite right-hand side dominant. It's always been White getting the assists or White getting the goal contributions from fullback, Saka getting the goal contributions from the wing, and Odegaard, who's the right side of the midfielder, getting the goal contributions from the midfield. Arsenal become very one-side dominant. So Martinelli's sort of been a victim of that in my eyes. I still think he's a better footballer than Madueke. I still think if it goes to him and Arsenal start to level out how they play, you will see a return to numbers from Martinelli. I just think that since he lost Xhaka, he's committed to the right hand side. In terms of Madueke, I don't think Madueke's better than him anyway. But I certainly don't think that in this case, moving a right winger to the left wing is better than just playing a left winger there. And I don't think Chelsea would sit there and live to regret selling Madueke, because if we're being brutally honest here, Dan, if Chelsea in 3 years' time want to challenge for a title, Madueke wouldn't be there.
No, I don't think he would be. To be honest, I'm in the camp where I could happily sort of see Madueke go if the money's like 50 million, if that's what we're talking about. So no issue for me if Madueke leaves for that amount of money. I think it's profit. I think it frees up a space in the team for Chelsea to buy better and puts us in a position to improve the squad. I'd be worried if I was Arsenal, by the way, and Madueke was what we were going for as a left wing option. That would concern me. To be in the conversation that, I mean, only a couple of weeks ago it was Rodrigo, it was Nico Williams, it was all these players, and all of a sudden it's Madueke, who, by the way, 4 goals against one team in the league this season, I think, with another 3 goals across the other matches. I don't think that is a sign that I would.
It's weird. It's weird when Rafa Leao's available. Like, you would just think that would be another natural choice. Like, you're going down the list, aren't you?
Though.
Yeah, but Madueke's had 3 falling outs with Maresca.
He has. Yeah. Madueke's got a bit of an attitude.
Madueke's had 3
never played for Chelsea.
Falling outs with players on the pitch.
Look, it's going to so many super chats here, and then we'll get Kunle's opinion on that, and then we're going to move on to a few other transfer stories, and we're going to do a bit more fact and fiction because I like adding these. I wanted to think of something to add to these transfer stories. I know every other YouTube channel is going to copy it now, but there we go. We'll see. We'll see in the next few days when we're out there watching it.
What new names is it going to fall under, though, Teddy?
Yeah, there'll be new names that it comes under, but it'll be like, oh, that's a good idea to add them in. You know what I mean? And then I'll be the one who's accused of stealing it. Watch, that's what always happens. Honestly, it's crazy.
Tag 2.0.
It's crazy. Honestly, the amount of people I see stealing my flow on that now after they were calling me out for 3 years is so funny. So funny. Arsenal in trouble this summer. No money. So we have to haggle for strikers. Jesus, Vieira, Havertz, Zinchenko on huge salaries. No one will buy them. That's from Hercules. Kunle, obviously, we were in the process of talking about the links of Madueke to Arsenal. They're obviously real. You've shown some interest in him. Do you think that's interest as the backup for Saka? Do you think it could be the left wing option now that Sane and Williams are unavailable and Rodrigo's hard? What's your thoughts on signing? Remember what Don said, the best one-on-one take on winger in the league.
Well,
Rodrigo's what, Terry?
Called him a 1v1 demon, didn't
look, it's quite funny that I come in once you're talking about the fake Nigerian Madueke. Big him up, yeah. But I'll be very disappointed if we sign Madueke personally, because I don't rate him one bit. I think he tries to style his game a little bit on Saka, but I think it's his mentality that I hate the most, because he has like one good game and then he thinks he's the dog's bollocks and then doesn't turn up for like 5 more games. So I personally think right now the media are just trolling Arsenal fans. That's what I think is going on. I think there's literally nothing going on. So like we got to create something, and we're going to talk about it. I don't believe we're going to go hard for this player personally, but the fact that we've done so much business with Chelsea in the past, so a story like this is believable. But I can't see it happening personally. If it happens.
Are you concerned about the whole?
I can't lie.
Go from Rodrigo to Madueke.
Go from Sterling to Madueke.
Bro, I thought we'd been scarred after what Sterling did. He was just like a body at our. He literally came to London to chill and retire. So I thought we'd be scarred by that deal, but I can't personally see it.
You got his kid in the academy. That's fair.
Huh?
You got his kid in the academy, so 20 years down the line, you might have a star there.
We're playing the long game, yeah?
I think
the long game.
I think you could do it. I don't think there's any chance you're thinking about making him a new left winger. I actually don't think he's a bad signing if he's back up to Bukayo Saka. I actually think, because finding backup for Saka's hard, because generally speaking, his availability is pretty good, other than that injury that he's had. You're never getting someone like an Mbeumo, because someone like that's going to want to be a regular player. And Saka plays nearly every game. He plays nearly all the minutes. So you've got to find a backup for him. And I actually think someone like Madueke could do a really good job last 15, 20 minutes of games. There is an element of dependability in him. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm not saying he's a game changer, but most of it, if you need a game changing, rarely do you take Saka off anyway. What you need to be able to do is, in lots of games where you're 2-0 up, 3-0 up, you need a good enough option to come on and give Saka that rest, maybe games where you could potentially in 5-6 games at home next season against lesser opposition, go, right, like Bukayo, you're going to start on the bench, going to have to rest those hamstrings up, start Madueke, you bring him on. That's where I think a player like him could work. Any level of he's going to be the starting left winger, that would be crazy.
No, I hear it, but it's one of them ones where I think his ego's so big, he thinks that he'd be going to a club to start. So I don't think he would accept that position personally.
Potentially true.
But he look, I just don't like him. So like whatever I say, just take it with a pinch of salt. To be fair,
I get that.
I just don't want him at the club. But he's not a bad player. But he's just not just as Dan said, from the players who have been linked with to then getting Madueke, it'd be a super underwhelming decision.
Yeah. Newcastle are inevitable. It's a matter of when, not if, for the Premier League. Isak can create a legacy like Aguero, David Silva. He's not leaving, in my opinion. That is what Nick Hunter says here. Marcy says that Madueke is overrated. He's Wright Phillips regen.
I think that's quite offensive to Sean Wright Phillips.
Extremely
very
offensive.
Good winger.
Yeah, Sean Wright Phillips is very good.
He was decent.
Once heard a Chelsea fan call Jackson a young Drogba. I remember that. I remember those days. Yeah, 2 years ago. I remember him. I remember him like, oh well. This is what I hate about our fans. She's an Arsenal fan. He goes, they hate to hear that Arsenal are in talks or appreciate a player, but the second Liverpool are talking about Isak, people lose their minds. It's the same thing. I understand where you're coming from with that. Interesting. According to Dylan here, that the Emirates is closed tomorrow for media duties. I don't know what media duties, but it's closed tomorrow for media duties.
Kit launch.
Kit launch has happened, didn't it?
I don't know. You got an
I
away
don't
one?
know.
We just had that.
I think
It might be
that's
that
from-
Lewis Skelly new contract that they've been.
Yeah,
saying was
Arsenal
close.
normally launch their kits at the week or two of the season to go. Arsenal do their kit launch really early. Got to sell that merch. Got to sell that merch. Oh, hang on.
Won't stop us releasing another.
Breaking news. You know, I said to you earlier, Henry, about certain debates just won't let happen on here. So Fabrizio Willi dropped this bomb. Ornstein just confirmed it. Bayer Leverkusen close to an agreement with Liverpool to sign Quansah from Liverpool. It will be a deal north of 40 million euros. So it'll be over 30 million pounds for him. Told you before, when it comes to Liverpool, they can sell players like
The guy was
no one
playing
else
with
on
Joey Barton a year and a half ago. Like, what are we doing, Tom?
Henry, Michael
Where was he
Edwards.
playing with Joey Barton? Right. Where?
At Bristol Rovers, Joey Barton was his manager.
Serious, man.
Edwards is a fucking genius.
All I was saying,
What, how
Henry,
much?
Liverpool and Edwards could sell ice to an Eskimo. We get money for players who should not be worth that. Quansah played about 10 games last
You've got to
season.
call them Inuits, but yes, I get the point. You could sell water to a drowning man. It's crazy.
It's bringing Edwards back, who isn't a businessman. Like, he's not thinking about he's not thinking about the club as a business. He's really invested in just making it great again. Like, and I sit here now every time, and I just think, I think we had like some big German guy that just blocked everything. Like, honestly, it just feels
but surely
like
you
none of
speak
these
about
big
it as a
transfers
business. He's
happened
generating 40
because
million
there was a big
players.
German in the way. Like, and Edwards just couldn't get what he wanted done.
I hear you, Mac, and I look at it this
Yes.
way. The only good thing about it is it helps set prices and values for everybody else if you've got good negotiators. Because if he is worth that, we should be able to get our money back for Harry Maguire. I'm telling you, because Harry Maguire is better than that geezer. He's older, but he is better. He is better. He is definitely better. But
And he's got a sprint up top in him as well.
I hear it.
Yeah, he can play striker.
I mean, that
one of the
deal's
other
meant not to
deals.
just mean
Sorry,
it's
guys.
the same
One
price
of the other deals that's being discussed today. Arsenal have also made contact. Chelsea are in for this deal. Spurs are considering a bid. Chelsea are looking at increasing their. I hate the way journalists get so pernickety because they're so scared of being called out. Chelsea might increase their unofficial bid they've already made, according to the Guardian. Can we just speak in English and say their fucking bid, right? To stop the PR shit for Mohamed Kudus. Mm-hmm. Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, all looking here at Mohamed Kudus. Chelsea and Spurs with the biggest links to him. Is that the kind of player you want to see added, Dan, to your team?
Yeah, I think that's a huge improvement. I think he can play across a multiple number of positions in terms of the front three. I think he's a better option than Nkunku. I feel like there was a couple of moments last year that showed there was a little bit of spikiness in his character, which I don't mind coming into the team. I think he wants to win. And technically, I think he'd be a great player to sort of level up the squad. And when you're comparing, if that's who you bring in with Madueke going out, I think it's great business. That's the type of upgrade I want to see happening. And I actually think a number of Premier League clubs missed the trick allowing him to go West Ham, because I think he was a cheaper value, and I couldn't believe that they all sort of slept on it. So I think this has been almost inevitable.
Instead for some reason.
No, we wanted him, but we were stopped from getting.
So
him.
did Brighton as well. Brighton had
Brighton. I remember Brighton.
They had a contract agreed with him, but West Ham paid more. But he's got a release clause, which is £80 million, which is active from July.
Do you think that gets matched, Henry? Do you think that's what goes? Like, gets?
I think he goes a lot less. I think he goes for like 60 mil.
West Ham
agree.
Like there.
Why do you think he goes for less than that? Why?
Because he wants.
No one will pay that asking price.
He wants out. He was headbutting people to get out last season. To be fair, so I hear it.
Do you think the only thing I'd say about Kudus, right, going to Chelsea, is I almost wonder if it's just, and this is only a whole balance perspective. I just wonder if it's one too many left footers, actually. Just one too many left
footers.
Too old. No, he's not too old.
Nah, but to be fair, he'll replace. He replaces everything you've got on the right hand side. If
Madueke goes, I think
literally.
But do you think they sign him as well as then maybe go for like a Gittens, or do you think this rules out all the other deals for Chelsea?
Yeah, if you sign him, you're not signing Gittens. And I think
they might. You reckon? I think they might.
Yeah,
I think they'll try and offload Nkunku.
How many wingers are they going to have?
Nkunku and
I think he's got his ban.
Henry, are you trying to say that Chelsea won't stockpile players?
And they won't
No,
sign
I'm
loads of wingers.
What I'm saying is they've got Neto who can play both sides. They've got Madueke who can play both sides. Palmer can play out on the right. Christopher Nkunku's future is still up in the air if he's going to go or stay. Jackson can play out on the left, right? And then you're potentially bringing in.
I feel like
Kudus.
Jackson's told everyone he can play on the left, but I'm not buying that, by the way.
I think, you know,
that was why you
they can barely
signed
play
him.
up front, mate. Like,
said they are actively. I mean, he's believe he used to work for their PR side of things or whatever his actual role was, but they are actively trying to sell him. Tottenham, Collins, Paul O'Keefe, the main wingers they want are Semenyo or Kudus. Now, Kudus for me, if he comes in, he starts on the right over Brendan Johnson. That is, if anyone's saying Johnson should be starting over him, you're out of your mind. But he can also, I think he can play in the false nine for Spurs as well, because I think he's got the pace to do it.
I don't think he
if we go out and sign Kudus, that for me, all this bullshit about Levy wants to win the Premier League, Levy wants to win the Champions League, that's just PR for how shit we have been all season, just to kind of get a lot of us back on side. But now he needs to show it. And if we go out there and start by bringing in, you know, Kudus for 50 million, but we just brought in Tel. So, like, that tells me, I think Son's gone. I think he's going to go Saudi in August.
Yeah.
Get the South Korea tour out of the way. Maximize him for everything he's got, and then come August, he will be going. I think Richarlison's gone. I think Kudus would be a fantastic replacement. But the one I want is Gahey. If Gahey goes to Liverpool, I'll be pissed.
Nah, but Kudus would be massive for you lot, though, man.
100%. I agree.
Man.
Is it a big enough move for Kudus, though, Kunle?
Is it what?
Is it a good enough move for him, though? Like,
I don't think that's why I don't think he picked Spurs personally. I think it's either Chelsea or if Arsenal go in for him.
He's coming into a winning team.
He's got Champions League.
Coming into a team which just won silverware.
A team that lost 21 games last season.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That doesn't sell. But what does sell is the fact that we've just won a trophy.
Don't write off Thomas Frank.
I guess he's got to believe. I guess Thomas Frank's got to convince him about this project that he's starting at Tottenham. That's going to push on. If he can, then maybe there's something in there, isn't it? Because the winning, the positive part of this what's it called? This process with Thomas Frank is that he's got Champions League football to start with. That could be a massive positive. It could be a positive or a big negative where you don't get found out massively because you had to sacrifice 21 games in the Premier League to win 8 games in Europe. So is that going to be the same process next season? I don't know. What was it? 8? Wasn't it 8 games? Something like that?
I don't know what it was. But you had to just kind of throw that in, didn't you?
More than that.
I have a question. I have another fictional football question for you, right? So, Kudus and Semenyo to Tottenham is better than Delap and Gittens to Chelsea. Tom.
Yeah, football.
Fiction or football?
Football. The Delap, good sign. Let me not take away from that. The Delap's a good sign. I'm not as big on buying on Gittens as others are. But that comes to about 80 million. Tottenham are obviously going to have to pay a bit more to get Kudus and Semenyo. What you're getting there is 2 Premier League proven, strong, quick, direct wingers. I think that Tottenham didn't utilise Dominic Solanke anywhere near enough properly last season. I do think there's a good striker in Dominic Solanke, but they just didn't use him properly because the wingers.
Not going to let this Solanke prop.
No, I never will. Come, like me and Staffy have been riding and dying on this Solanke thing. I don't think that the wingers that Tottenham had in Tel, Werner, Johnson, Son, and to a lesser extent Kulusevski, if he ended up playing in the middle and was all right, ever really played into Solanke's hands as wingers. Whereas what Semenyo and Kudus can do is make the direct runs behind the defence, so Solanke's hold-up play can actually go to someone. They can run narrow and link up with Solanke. They are 2 very good wingers who will also further unlock that number 9. I think Bynum Gittens is a decent winger, but end product is massively lacking. I think Delap, very interested to see how he handles going from big fish in small pond to small fish in big pond. The other 2, Kudus and Semenyo, whether you like this or not, Henry, despite the size of Tottenham Hotspur, with the plays in your attack, Kudus is going from big fish in small pond to big fish in big pond. And Semenyo is going from big fish in small pond to big fish in big pond.
I think our attack's the worst.
The adaptation won't be as strong there. So I think that's a football. I think
Has
that's
Semenyo
100%
played with
better.
Solanke already? Did he already
Yeah,
play
yeah,
with him?
they
Bournemouth as
played.
well,
Yeah.
They played
It's a
along.
good
Frank-
signing if they get him. To be
It's
fair.
going to be interesting to see what Frank does with that front line because he tried to sign Johnson at Brentford. They put like a £42 million bid in, which we had to go and put 50 in for him. So it'd be interesting to see if we sign Kudus, who's going to play out wide for us because we're not going to spend 35 million quid on Tell and have him sitting on the bench because of our good
35 million, is
relationship
that a
with
lot of
Bayern
money?
Munich.
Is that a lot of money?
It ruined.
It is for Spurs. Our record signing's like 60 million quid.
I think it's
Yeah, but
football. I
yeah.
think Thomas
Is it?
Frank is going to get madness out of Solanke. Like genuine believe he's going to get some madness out of Solanke. Solanke's a really good player. Like really, really good player for me.
Leave it out.
I just don't think he's got the team around him that does enough work, and he ends up having to do too much hard work himself, and he just looks knackered when he gets onto the ball, like for finishing.
Well, our entire system was about getting down to the byline and cutting it back. Where Solanke scored the season before the most headers of any striker in the league. So we went, do you know what?
So
we're not going to play to his strengths.
Let's not do that anymore.
No, wait. Because of one season at Bournemouth, you lot are sold on this Solanke boy. Because I've not seen any other season where he's set the league alight or anything. And what is it that you see?
Apart from youth level, Kunle, that's it.
What's Solanke? Yeah, the season at Bournemouth. That was the
and that's the one. Other than that one season, what else have you seen?
Yeah, but I think
confidence will be up
Solanke,
for this year.
I hear that.
I think with Solanke you could see the package though.
Yeah.
He had it all there. It just he wasn't great.
So did Dan answer this question? Which one?
No.
Which one of the? So I want to fact you as a Chelsea fan because you're probably going to get Gittens. It sounds like you are. You've got Delap. Of course, you're inquiring about others, but say you get if Spurs get their two main target attackers and you get yours, which team has had the better deal in your opinion?
It's tough to say. Probably in terms of the players now, an instant improvement, Tottenham. But I just feel like any player going to Tottenham sort of lowers the level of the deal. To be honest with you. So I just think as good as those players are, I don't think the success will be as good as what they could have had in their career if they go to Spurs.
Cheers, mate.
So I think if they were to come to Chelsea as lesser players, they'll develop into better players by the time those players leave Tottenham.
Do you think Maresca's a better coach than Frank?
No, probably not. But he might be with time. I don't know. I don't know how good Thomas Frank will be. I've got a funny feeling he's going to be out of his depth in the Champions League. And I think that we're going to find that out very quickly.
Thomas and Frank engine?
I think Brentford was set up and this isn't to do with this.
I think people are going to be really surprised by how good Thomas Frank is.
I think Thomas Frank did a fantastic job at Brentford in a whole system and the way the club was ran. It was literally perfect for him. And I'm just not sure whether or not Tottenham is running the same way at all. And whether or not it's going to be one of those a bit like Graham Potter, where he looked fantastic at Brighton, he stepped up to what like is the big time, and he just hasn't cut it. And I kind of wonder if Frank will go in a similar way.
Do you know why that's interesting?
I'm not sold by it as to see Tottenham.
I don't think
you like would. No, but I don't think Tottenham would do enough in their squad to make it okay to field this strongest 11 twice a week. So I think it would struggle from that scenario. When he has to rotate.
Yeah. And I think you would have had more chance winning a trophy, whether it be a League Cup or an FA Cup or whatever, with Ange than you would with Thomas Frank coming in.
Win the FA Cup but get relegated.
Yeah, but what? So what? Like,
but
you might only have to.
What a journey, Henry, no?
You might only have. Wigan did it once. You might only have to sacrifice 4 games to do that rather than 8 or whatever it is that Kunle was saying. But
I think the difference though, and why I'm a bit bigger on Thomas Frank than the other managers who made that jump. So I use Potter for an example. Graham Potter was signed for Chelsea from Brighton because of his style of play. And his style of play was very fluid and this, that, and the other. And then he went to Chelsea and the players couldn't do his style of play. So he stuck with the style of play.
Yeah, but he changed system every week. So what was the
style but he was trying to do the same principles. And the principles weren't landing.
I think he walked into a squad that had won the Champions League and they went... Not buying that, mate.
Yeah, there was also an element of that. But I think with Thomas Frank, it's a case of...
I think, look, Tottenham have just won a European trophy. And as soon as Frank says something that wouldn't have won him that European trophy...
Who knows? We might magically have the dream performance and win the Super Cup.
Look, I don't think that's a fantastic deal for Tottenham getting Frank. I think a lot of people are suggesting he's going to be even better than what he was. And I just don't believe he's coming out saying you want to win the Premier League and that whatever he said... I don't think you do that by hiring Thomas Frank. And I don't know if you do that by buying
Thomas
Henry,
Frank.
Semenyo.
Henry,
Good
all you need to
competitive
know
game.
about Thomas Frank, mate, is Liverpool did all their research on this guy, and he was the number one choice. He
And
was
then
the
you got
number one choice. Like all of our committee wanted Thomas Frank. It took a hell of a lot of persuasion by Richard Hughes to get Arnie Slot in.
So Richard Hughes is sat there now
Imagine.
laughing at
All
every
you
single
need to
person in
know-
that committee room
You will
because
be
he just
you will
got the
be
manager in that won
absolutely
you the
fine
league.
with this guy. He brought Brentford
Exactly.
into the
I don't
Premier
see
League.
why that example was a good one.
He
there,
brought
man.
Brentford
yeah.
into the
Yeah, I don't
Premier League.
understand the example. I don't.
Man United even
Max,
turned that
everyone
down as
stop.
well.
Everyone stop. I've got to play host. Mac, I don't know what you're talking about. What does that example mean? I don't get it. 'Cause-
We did our research on Thomas Frank. Like,
yeah,
he
but
was
I don't.
going to
What,
be
hang on,
our
hang on, hang on,
choice.
hang on, hang on.
And
But
didn't
I don't
hire
get
him.
whether you mean it's a bad thing for Tottenham or a
It's
good
a good
thing.
thing. It's a good thing for Tottenham.
But you didn't give him the job.
No, because Richard Hughes wanted.
Because he's
So
not
someone
quite
better.
good
he
enough.
won
to
with
win
the
the
league,
league.
mate.
I don't get it.
Well,
This
he
is
was so
delusional,
high on our
Taylor.
list that we wanted him. That's what I'm
You
saying.
literally
Like,
had.
But the
And
reason
we're
you
much
probably
bigger team
didn't
than
push the
Tottenham.
button is
Hey,
because
mate,
he
you
wasn't.
had a board do due diligence on a manager, probably wasted hours and hours on this manager for one bloke to go, we're not getting in, we're going to go with this guy. They all
Yeah,
turn around and go, not a great idea.
I don't think
And then
that's
he
I,
says,
exactly
also,
what
I
happened,
also
Gamer.
was going to talk about the fact that Thomas Frank brought Brentford into the Premier League on a shoestring budget and turned them into a
And
very
he's going to win the
competitive
Super
team.
Cup and his
that had
first
no
competitive
chance near
game.
going down.
But Brentford had been sort of toying with the Premier League for a number of seasons. They'd got close under a couple of managers in recent
Yeah, it
years.
was Frank
into
that
the
got them
playoffs
there
and
and kept
stuff.
them
So the whole Danish link with Brentford and everything, I just think the club was completely set up for a manager like Thomas Frank to come in and succeed. Like Kunle was saying, I'm not sure that Daniel Levy and Tottenham do enough to support Frank to the same extent Brentford did for him. And that's where I'd worry it wouldn't work.
But I
well,
think
the only
the
thing I will
difference
say-
is though Thomas Frank is a manager that can adapt his style of management. So Ange,
But what does that mean
would
in
not
the end?
take-
Because Ange didn't and won them a
Mhm.
European trophy, albeit
yes,
a horrible
Ange got them that
season.
trophy, but they
But
were
Tottenham,
shite.
all Tottenham wanted was a European trophy or a trophy, and Ange did it.
As a
and not
club,
adapted
yes.
it.
I don't want to be a
Dan,
trophy.
Dan,
and have to
you're
be bottom
correct.
blue.
You're correct. They needed that trophy to get over this hoodoo, but they've now got over this hoodoo. They cannot still have the mindset of everything else is relevant. I need a trophy. They've now got that trophy. They need to get back in the mindset of right. We need to now build a good football club here that can regularly get in the Champions League. And despite the fact he knew a bit of knockout football and could manage a bit of knockout football, was utter garbage post the first 10 games of the Premier League.
Yeah, we were fucking Lily Phillips, mate. We were just getting absolutely unloaded on.
They need
week after
Tottenham
week
need to
after
go
week.
back. Tottenham have had to try and revert back to bread and butter. Bread and butter is getting a good league manager. And Thomas Frank is a very good league manager. Now, what does that mean for cups? No idea.
To what
He could
extent,
be-
though,
he could-
Tom? Because like he's
No, but
mid-table
look,
with two
look,
players.
look, the
Hang on, he's
reality is-
mid-table. Can they one sec? He's mid-table with two players that have scored 20 plus goals, and he's also got another player in there, Sharda, who got 11 or 9. Or, I
Yeah,
think
Yeah,
got
they also
double
lost
as
Tony.
So he had-
They lost David
Yeah, okay,
Raya.
but he all right. So he did a good job in terms of when that player left, which is if Tottenham become a selling club, then I think you can
Which
put
we
trust
are.
in him that he does. Okay, so then he might do well at that aspect, but at the same time, I don't know if he's going to do a better job than he'll probably do a better job than what Ange did in the season this year. But I just don't think it's as much of an improvement as you could have made looking elsewhere for a manager. I just
what
think
other
you could
manager
go a
would
level
you-
above Thomas Frank.
So what other just because I know Terry wants to move on, but what other manager would you think would be a better appointment looking at the position we are in right now as a football club?
Well, that's actually, to be fair, Henry, that's a really fair point because I don't know which manager would have gone being that concerned about the squad as a whole if it's good enough to be fighting for Champions League football.
Maybe Glasner?
I don't know. If,
I don't think
Glasner's
Glasner-
a-
I'm
I'm
taking the
going to
job.
defend Tottenham slightly
Well,
here, right? Though,
Palace.
and say I'm going to say this about it. I get he won them a trophy, and they deserve to win it. At the same time, though, look at how they won it, and look at some of those games. So, for instance, the second leg game against Frankfurt was amazing. Not going to lie, very good actually in the second leg away against Bodo Glimt as well. But you look at the earlier knockout rounds, it was precarious. Up until they had that really good performance away against Frankfurt, every Tottenham fan, well, no, that's an exaggeration. 85% were like, we're out this round, we're getting battered, we're going to go. There was very much this view that it was dead and buried. And even in the final, United weren't particularly great. But I think if the teams played that final, the goal they scored was a shot that went backwards, hit him when it went in. it isn't. I'm going to use that word that's been a very colloquial word in football. It's not overly sustainable to stick with Big Ange, in my personal opinion, even with a view to just winning trophies, because he's got nowhere near. Well, he got to semi-finals, to be fair, but got battered. He hasn't really got near to winning a domestic trophy because he's against better opposition. He did very well to win the Europa League, and Spurs fans cherish it and celebrate it. There's no doubt. But I think now that the dust is settled, even the fans that were gutted to see him leave, go back and watch a lot of those games and in the Europa League, the defeats that you had. You know, the fact that they were probably Luke Shaw's header or a clearance off the line away from that result maybe being different to a horrible Man United team would change everything. And I always feel that if a manager's that close between like glory and failure, I do think you need to move on to find someone who makes you more stable. Because I think a very good Tottenham team that's in and around 6th position and above, a team that's at that level consistently has more chance over, say, a decade of winning trophies than the team we've seen from Ange in the last 2 years. Yes, he's won a trophy in that time, but I don't know if it's sustainable. Most of the time, the teams that are consistently at a high level in the league win the trophies or have a better chance of winning them. And yeah, look, I think they've done the right thing. I think Thomas Frank will be I think he'll do a better job over the next 5 years than Ange. I mean, Ange wouldn't have been the manager in 5 years. They had to get rid of it. He got relegated.
They had to get rid of Ange, but I don't think Frank is a good enough appointment to suggest that they want to win the Premier League.
Definitely that.
Because that's
I
what's
still
happened.
think he's
that
claim.
They said it came out. Daniel Levy's come out.
For the first time ever, he come out and said
that's just not achievable.
Yeah, but
I
get it. But it's of course they want to win the league.
That's a bit like Arsenal saying we want to win a trophy, and then they go and sign Madueke and Sesko. It's like they're trying to do something, but
we also need to be realistic on what we are. We're not this club that our fans think we are.
Yeah, but you in the pot like before, you weren't winning trophies, and you got Jose and you got Conte in. So
yeah, that's because we put Jose on something like 17 million quid a year, and then when we sacked him, we had to pay him another 20 million.
But but this is the thing. I think sometimes people take things out of the context. They meant, of course, Spurs want to win the league. I want to be 6'5". That's it. Saying it is true. Of course, they want to win the league. It's different. I didn't take his comments too seriously because if you're honest, if you were to turn around and ask the Leeds United manager, "Do you want to win the Premier League?" Of course they do.
What I will say though, Terry,
we're going to do it.
In the 20 odd years he had the football club, it's the first time he's actively said he wants to come out and win. So now you need to match that by giving Frank the tools to do the job.
But Henry, nobody's expecting you lot to win the league in the next 2 years. So he can say that. In 5 years, in 5 years you can be challenging. But the reality is, if Tottenham finish 10th this coming season, it's progress from what you did last season, isn't it?
But it still wouldn't be better. It wouldn't be better than Ange's first season, though, couldn't they? It still wouldn't be better than that.
Yeah, but
that was only.
I don't think any of the fans. But they've won a trophy now, so I don't think anyone's going to be upset of a 10th place finish.
I mean,
in a couple of
was Ange,
especially considering
I don't
they got
exactly
Champions
remember
League
much
football.
of Ange's first season, but it wasn't exactly groundbreaking.
I don't know.
10 games.
It was, true. It started off groundbreaking, didn't it?
They won 8 out the first 10, and then had the form of a 17th place team for the second half from like pretty much beyond that point. And this season, they carried that form on and finished. Where did they finish? 17th. So outside of a 10-game run, Ange Postecoglou had Tottenham Hotspur being a relegation level.
Yeah, but Tom,
team.
I don't think Ange isn't the biggest problem here. Ange isn't the biggest problem. I think it's Tottenham coming out with the chest, like Daniel Levy's saying, we want to win the Premier League. We want to achieve greatness as a club. And then he goes and hires the Brentford manager who's not won anything. And
it's about understanding where you are, though.
Yes, exactly.
Tottenham's squad can't. He can come out and say all this, and
Tottenham had Jose Mourinho and Conte not that long ago, and they weren't in a dissimilar
position. No one's expecting this Tottenham squad to win the league right now, even challenge. So
I don't think Jose's washed, and Conte wasn't given anywhere near what he wants.
Just before we move on, again, I don't think he said we want to win the league this year.
We want to just win it in general, doesn't it?
I think it's more we want to win it in general. It isn't we're going for the league title this year.
Then I don't think you hire Thomas Frank, Terry. Because they've hired Thomas Frank not for one season, they've hired him for a longer period than that. I don't think Thomas Frank is ever going to be enough.
I I think
Should we
they
totally
need.
realistic
I
with
think they
Tottenham?
need to lead that, guys. Sorry, we're going to run out of time, so I've got to move the subject on. I'm really, really sorry because I have a question that I want to ask, and it's back to Arsenal with some news that's come out today. Fiction or football, Kunle? Partey leaving Arsenal will make them a better team.
Fiction. Fiction, yeah, definitely fiction. If Partey leaves this summer, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous because I don't think we do enough to replace him, and just bringing in Zubimendi is not enough for me personally. So I think fiction, man. We're worse.
I mean, I don't know whether they're better, but I think it's a commitment to a new way of playing, which we've done every single year under Arteta. But I think Arteta, you get Zubimendi, and he's not this. Partey was really good at, getting the ball back, and he was a good passer, not taking that away. But Partey's strength was physicality. He could dominate midfield. Martin Zubimendi was getting outpaced by Casemiro when I watched them in that Europa League game. Now, albeit it's one game, I'm not going to judge him too harshly, but getting outpaced by Uncle Casemiro in the great year of 2025 doesn't exactly make me think you're going to be this dual monster. So
Everyone
you must be coming in to be this.
Everyone has a
Yeah,
bad
but you must be
game.
coming in to be this playmaker from deep, which therefore means I think Arteta's trying to make us a somewhat return back to that style of football from the first go round when you went for the title and you just missed out on it. If that's the way you're going back to, then I think you're better. Because I think that first year under Arteta, where you were challenging for a title, that's the best football I've seen Arsenal play under him. If you're doing Zubimendi because he's tall, and we want to continue to do what we do at the minute, which is tall players everywhere on the pitch, you will be worse because Zubimendi's not as good at that as Thomas Partey is, despite the fact he's a bit taller.
Is he tall?
He's
like
not
5'11", 6 foot.
You'll be better without him. You'll be better
thought he was
without him because you might have to put a right back in the right position now, like and not him. So you will get a wrench down that side, and his creativity is really non-existent in midfield.
He's 5'9", Tom.
Who? Partey?
Is he?
Yeah,
Zubimendi's 5'9".
Hey,
yeah.
one drop of the shoulder, then he's off, mate. Are you
Yeah.
joking?
No way, Zubimendi
It's
5'9".
1 point.
He looks
Hey,
like
go
he's
and
6 foot.
just type in Partey drop of the shoulder, and you'll see, bro.
According to this, he's 5'9".
That drop of the shoulders.
I've got 5'11" here.
Yeah, I got 5'11".
5'11",
You
180.
got dodgy sauces, Henry Rice, for an Arsenal fan.
Well,
Yeah,
Tom,
I should,
just have
me and
interest,
Terry
how
should
tall
know
is
this,
the
shouldn't we?
I think he'd be better
5'11"
off
for
without him.
real. Bro.
Yeah,
He doesn't look 5'11".
5'11". I thought he looked taller than 5'11".
Really?
Let's meet in the middle and say he's 5'10" then.
No, I've got
So what,
5'11" by
so
multiple
wait, so
sources.
Tom,
I'm not
what was
using
your
a
answer?
5'9" source.
Hey, what was your answer, Tom? Football or fiction?
I'm gonna say fiction because I don't think he's going to return. But if he's going back to the football you played in 22-23, it's football 100%. That's the best football Arsenal can play. But I don't think he's going to do that. I still think Arteta's too scared.
So what's your midfield going to be now that he's Rice, Zubimendi, Odegaard?
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you just an open question. Is that
Why
better?
are you frowning? Is yours better than that? Or something?
No. Mine's won trophies though, so let me ask you a question.
Oh my
my
God,
you should
not
have let
I love that.
Let me ask you,
Fair enough.
where does that
Fair
midfield
play.
rank in the Premier League? Is it better than Newcastle's? Is
Yeah.
it better than Tonali, Gramaris, and Jolinton?
It's not better than that. That's the best
That's
midfield
not,
in the league.
It's the best midfield in the league.
Is it better than
Who's
Liverpool?
midfield? No, Liverpool's
Arsenal's
the
is
best
like
midfield.
Newcastle's
Liverpool.
midfield is the
Arsenal's
best
like
midfield in the
Liverpool.
It's
league.
better than
No,
ours.
it's not.
Newcastle's
Liverpool's
midfield is
is.
better than ours.
No, it's
Liverpool,
not.
Kunle, your midfield
our
is
midfield is not
poor.
better than Newcastle's.
No.
Okay, so
I'm
so
sure
we're
you
saying
reckon-
you reckon yours is
all
better
of
than
all of
ours?
them in McAllister, but that's
And do you
not
reckon yours is
all
better
of
than
them.
ours?
Yeah, Chelsea's is
Then
better
why
than
do you never
Arsenal.
dominate us in Arsenal Chelsea games?
I
That's the
just
manager.
because I don't think that issue is purely on the midfield, but I just think as the players,
But your midfield
a-
never dominates.
Yeah,
the
Play with the
games,
back
bro.
six.
Chelsea's midfield.
That's
Yeah, because
why.
I don't think the system is about. I don't think the system for Chelsea is about the midfield dominating games when they're going to play
But-
Arsenal. I just don't think it's. I think it's.
Oh,
been a
when
little
it
bit more
comes to
pragmatic
Arsenal,
than-
you get a bit scared. I get it.
No, I just think it's
The
been a little bit
only
more
one
pragmatic
game
than
you
that,
had a
personally.
decent game against us was without Partey. Every time Partey plays you, like we dominate the midfield.
You're not
Yeah,
gonna
but
have
isn't
Partey
this
now.
without Partey? Isn't this Partey
And-
leaving?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Zubimendi,
for sure, for
Rice,
sure. We don't
Odegaard.
know how the next one looks.
Yeah, that's
but-
not. I don't think that midfield is getting in the top. It's probably
Is that
top
better than
five.
Rodri, Reinders,
What?
and
Can I
Xhaka?
ask you a question about
No,
Zubimendi
of course
though,
not.
guys? Sorry, just because obviously Why, when he was about to join Liverpool, did everybody go, "Wow, this player in the Prem"? Why when he's joined? Well, but Liverpool weren't rated.
Liverpool did the trend.
Hang on, just let me finish the question. Liverpool weren't even rated as a team that was going to go on and win. They weren't rated like they're rated today. Everyone's like they've fallen off a little bit. Why was the hype around Zubimendi so big 2 years ago, but now suddenly he's this little shrimp that can't cut it in the Prem? What's changed?
Because he's been linked with
said
Arsenal.
no to Liverpool. Said no to Liverpool.
Yeah.
So that's why Tom hates him.
Mhm.
So he brings up that
No,
one game
I'll be
against
honest.
Casemiro that he played badly.
I'll be
doesn't
honest.
bring any of the good ones.
I'll be honest.
Finishes
I
mid-table.
hadn't watched him before we were linked with him. After he turned us down, I watched him and I wasn't all that moved by him.
Yeah, but you thought he was quite tall, though.
No, because I was right. He's tall, 5'11". He's tall for a midfielder.
I'm 5'11". That's not. Look at
That is
some
not
of the
tall
Dan.
for a
It's the
midfielder.
same
That's
thing
not
that
tall.
people are starting to do
Midfielder,
with
5'11",
Gyokeres.
relatively tall.
5, mate.
Every time a player's linked with Arsenal, he's not as good as he was.
Look at the size of
That's what it
Dan.
is.
I know right now he looks about 5 foot. That's fucking tall. He's like a mountain. Sorry, but go on, carry on.
I just
Cheers,
think
Sorry,
I hadn't
mate.
watched Zubimendi before we were linked to them, and everything you were in once you were linked to them, because comps just give you everything you want to know. They're the biggest dopamine hits ever. I was told he's the next Rodri, this, that, and the other, and then I watched him play for Sociedad this year, and I went, he's a good passer. He's not exactly, this monster who can hold the DM spot down on his own and allow others to go out and do what they want. Now that works for Arsenal because you've got Rice there who can also. Rice does all that ground cover and everything, so it's a smart signing for Arsenal. But he's just not the player that I thought he was when all the news was coming out and I hadn't watched him. Once I
So what
started
did you
watching
think
him,
he was
everything
like?
changed.
A Busquets?
What was the
Now
player you
I know
thought
he's
he was?
more of a guy who sits there and dictates your tempo and this, that, and the other. When we were linked with him at the time, I thought I was getting this
Yeah, we wanted
miniature
the DM.
Rodri who not only is very good at the passing, but covers ground well, flies into tackles. You can play two really attacking midfielders, and you're all right because he's.
I honestly think you're getting something that's closer to Mendy than you are to Rodri.
now you are, yeah.
That's
now that I've watched them.
disingenuous there.
No, that's what you're getting. Mendy was good enough to play for Real Madrid, and I think Zubimendi falls into a similar category.
Stop that. man.
That's why Real Madrid wanted them.
Yeah, I think he just is a decent ball-playing midfielder that would do well in that sort of style of football in that league.
Do you swap Rice round with him though? That's the question.
Yeah, Rice as an 8 is far better than Rice
Put
as
him
a
in as
6.
the 8 because he is an 8. He's a really good one.
I think that's still up for debate for me, but we'll do that
That's
another day.
that's the question.
Yeah,
man.
I think it'll be. Listen, I just think it's one of those things. There'll be a mixture depending on the games who they play. Arsenal clearly invert both their fullbacks into midfield, which means that it's not like Zubimendi is going to be in there by himself at all times. There's always going to be a fullback with him. I think it's a really good signing. I think it's more about the package with Arsenal. I mean, Ornstein, I think, has said if Partey leaves, they'll sign another midfield player. So they'll go in for somebody else, as it were. But I actually think I think Arsenal will be a better team if he leaves. And my rationale is not about Partey's last season or his ability. This man was a crock for 2 years and had a really good season. My feeling is if he signs a new deal, he spends half of it out injured last year. I think last season not getting injured was the anomaly, not the injuries for the previous 2 seasons. I think that he got away with it because he obviously looked after himself. But I think Arsenal will suffer bad luck with him if he signs an extension. I think he'll be injured. I think they're better off if the recruitment is good, moving on to a younger model and a player that can develop, especially with Rice and Zubimendi being there. You've got that room to maybe go out there. There's a young lad at Sevilla.
As long as they do that, though, Terry. As long as they do.
I agree. But I think at the same time, so I don't think it's this end of the world that people are making it out to be. I get Arsenal fans are stressed because they haven't seen Zubimendi touch the shirt yet, and they're too slow because. You know what I mean? I do hope, by the way, all these Arsenal fans kicking off and moaning when they have to do work at 9 a.m. I hope if it's only an hour commute, they're leaving at 5 a.m. because they've got to leave really early to make sure that it's all done on time. Like, I do find it so strange, personally. But that's just me. Gents, look, I want to thank you all for coming on the show today. I really do appreciate it. It was a little bit earlier than usual because of me, because I'm live on the United stand at 7 p.m. So if you guys want to join us over there, that would be great to see you there. We're talking in Mbeumo's hijack. We're talking all things Manchester United. So if you are a United fan watching, I'll see you over there. Gentlemen, thank you all for coming on. Dan, Henry, Tom, K-Mac, Kunle, appreciate it loads. To all of our viewers and our super chatters, you're absolute legends. Please hit the like button before you go. Take care. Sorry, I've got to answer this point. Sorry, Terry, that's not true. Partey was pretty injury-free except for that year.
Huh? Should I take this or do you want it?
You
Which
have it
year?
as an Arsenal fan.
This is multiple years.
Like, this is the only season we've been able to rely on Partey, bro. Like, let's keep it 100. And that's the reason why I don't think he'll stay, because I think he wants a pay rise and he's going to be 32.
Yeah.
Like, after getting one good season, it don't really make.
So since he's been at Arsenal, he had 3 injuries in the 2021 season, 3 injuries in the and that accumulated to he had 4 injuries in that first season. The 3 in that first season that accumulated to just under 100 days. In the 21-22 season, it was almost 150 days out injured. In the 22-23 season, it was just 2 injuries. In fact, it was only 30 days he missed that season. In 23-24, he missed 160 days. Last season, it was just 6 days in totality. So if you look at his 5 years at Arsenal, barring last year and the 23-24 campaign, the 22-23 campaign where he only missed 30 days, which is still quite a lot. You're still missing him for...
It depends when you miss him. If he misses the business end of the season,
and he also missed a lot of big games in those seasons. You remember, a lot of the big games he always had these little knocks for. So for me, I just, again, as he gets older, you give him some 2. I just think at 32 is actually, I think, again, if the recruitment's crap, then you're in trouble. But if the recruitment is decent, then I don't think they're wrong to, as you say, not giving him like a 2-year deal with a pay rise. Yeah. But listen, everyone who's tuning in, thank you. We'll see you on the United Stand in about 10 minutes' time. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all soon. Peace.